Okay, hi everyone. This is Crystal Vella, and I am going to hand the reins over very quickly to the chairs of this group. You are at the SWAN Public Services User Group, and this will be the last meeting of the year. And I will hand it off now to Jean and Sue, and Jerry when she wants it. I'm going to mute myself, but if you guys need me to navigate anywhere else other than this agenda, please just let me know and I will get there. All right, it's all yours.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hello.
I'm
Welcome.
Sue Feddersen from the Bensonville Library. I'm the Materials Services Coordinator.
I'm Jean Jansen. I'm from the Villa Park Public Library, and I'm the Youth Services Manager.
I think first on the agenda is the patron messaging, and I'm not sure who had a question about that. Was that Eugene?
No, it was not. Well, I had a question because my question was, what was it?
Crystal, do you recall more? It was more about for notices. Was that right?
Yeah.
I think it was more in regards to, let me see, I'm trying to go back. Jerry had an idea about it. And I think it was just not an about notices, but more about how to promote. Oh, hello.
Hi, it's Dawn.
Oh,
Sorry,
hi.
I was like, I think a lot of it had to do with how also can we message our users on things like your card is expiring, welcome, you're a new library user, kind of all of those things.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. Jerry had just put that she thought it was about messaging, messaging sending to patrons and how to get them to understand what services everyone's offering. Yeah, so
I think we've gone with the repetition is fine method here, like social media, print, online, anything we can do.
Yeah, when we have an online card registration, we send a letter to them telling them what they have access to as far as the online databases, and then we encourage them to, well, right now not be able to come in, but call us to arrange for a full use card, and then we let them know what their expiration date is there. So we tell them that they have 90 days, their expiration date is this day, this is what they have access to. But if you want access to, books, movies, games, come in or give us a call and we can arrange to have a library card for you.
Yeah, I know in the last few days with all the new excitement we've had, the latest developments that we did, like Facebook, Twitter, the social media. We put signs out. We have a sign, electric signs. We put a message up there. Maybe they see it 5 times, but that's better than 0.
Yeah, that's kind of what we did as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I know I saw posted up there. We have a big sandwich board out front that we have when people walk in, because we won't officially close till tomorrow or go to curbside till tomorrow. And then our CERC staff was telling everybody when they were calling about holds or calling about things, our CERC staff was letting people know this is how they would have to pick it up starting Friday. Just to try and keep people as informed as possible.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. We have an excellent staff member who promotes everything, and she worked yesterday actually all day, so she was able to get the word out to everybody who came in or anybody who called. She made sure everybody knew, so they know that, starting tomorrow we will just be curbside. And we are taking appointments for computers for 20 minutes. We only take two. We'll be taking two every half hour.
Hi guys, I'm new to the group. My name's Jill Martirano. I'm the Public Services Manager at the Glenside Public Library. We're migrating to SWAN right now and should be going to live SWAN mid-December, December 9th. So we're coming up to a very exciting time. Done a lot of training. So yeah, of course I wanted to be a part of this group and just sit in and probably mostly listen. I'll put in some comments if I have it. It sounds like now we're not talking about databases, talking about sort of what's happening live with the new mitigations. Just we are not closing. We have no intention to close. There's no explicit language from the governor's tier 3 mitigations that closes us down. We are keeping at 25% capacity by removing any seating and study room use, which we were at about 50% previously, but all of our study rooms are being well used. Of course, because we're the only ones in the area that had any study room availability for months. We do allow our computers, computer use, and we allow an hour reservation. So we have our reservation system that sort of tracks the people that are going to be in the library for a lengthy period of time. It's tracked by obviously our computer reservation system. So it keeps it pretty simple. We have, people can come in and browse. Our library is way more service oriented than materials oriented. We're in a very low income area, very low on the socioeconomic scale. We see the real need for computer use on a daily basis, and that's probably the most important service that we can provide right now. People continuing to fill out job applications and unemployment and, working with their taxes. Many people don't know how to use a computer. So we're really focusing on assisting people, continue to assist people in need. We are still providing our immigration services. We have safe measures in place, obviously, with large acrylic shields, as many of you guys must have on your service desks. We are still providing one-on-one library appointments, mostly ELL related. We average about 60 to 75 one-on-one appointments with librarians a month, either citizenship, ELL naturalization services, or immigration services. So that's really vital to our community. So we're continuing to provide that safely. We have always had curbside. We've never stopped doing curbside. So we continue to do curbside. But like I said, most people really need our help, in the areas I've mentioned and using the computers. So yeah, so we're open. We are grab and go model, and we will be most likely in this model for a while. Of course, we're also a very popular study space area, so there are some disappointed patrons obviously coming in this week. We began this model on Monday. We see no need to change it, and people are accustomed to coming here. A lot of college students, adult learning, that's really vital to our community to provide those spaces as well. Unfortunately, we can't provide those safely at the moment. So that's where we're at Glenside. Thanks.
Thank you and welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
Yeah, we are kind of in a similar boat in many ways. I mean, we're still open, the grab and go thing. Study room's closed. We pulled not very many chairs that we had, but yeah, we're still trying to offer limited computer time and services. And there was a day where we weren't going to offer computers, and I was afraid that people would come and burn the library down, but that thankfully didn't happen. So
Yeah, we are similar as a more of a service-based library than materials-based, and that's why we felt we needed the appointments for people to continue to use the computers. And even if somebody wanted to come in and browse, instead of just placing a hold, they could do that. We plan to do, printing by curbside, notary if we need to, things like that. That's how we started, and that's not changed. And just that we're gonna shut the doors for people to just come in whenever. We had a 1 hour time limit, and we frequently had many, like you said, Jill, study groups that were there that we had to, kindly ask to leave after an hour or so. So this will definitely put a damper on that. I think with the remote learning in our area, I think it's just been difficult, and we see a lot of high school students coming in to study together, and we won't be able to see that for now. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I should note too, we had started back in June when we opened up curbside printing and faxing. There's a lot of faxing that gets done here. And that's really seems to be valuable for a lot of people who don't want to come inside the library. And that's something we'll continue to do, but it's really well used. I don't see us going away from that service, even if we, even post pandemic, it's a nice option.
It really is. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something that we've seen a lot of use. We stopped charging for copies as well during the pandemic, and people are just absolutely thrilled with that.
We've been for about 5 years. We have been at a model of the first 50 black and white copies are free on a daily basis. So that's a service that obviously has been really appreciative from the community and a lot of people outside the community, which is fine with us. And so that's why it really does work curbside, because we don't exchange money. If someone really needs color, then they need to come in and print in the library. But the free first 50 pages really covers most of people's files that want printed on that day. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a very cool idea. I like it. Oh, I forgot to mention, we got new self-service lockers, which are now up and running after some bugs we had, but that's very exciting. So
what company did you go with that? Did you know?
Luxor One.
I'm sorry, say that again.
It's Luxor One.
Luxor One. Okay. I know we were starting to look into that. I'm not sure where that went.
Yes. And Candace here, the circulation outreach manager, would be happy to talk to anybody about that. We had some issues with them, but it seems to have been resolved. So, yeah, we're very happy.
Look for a thread on lockers in the forums. Stephen, Aaron, and I were just talking about that this morning, that we need to kind of touch base and provide information who's doing what, because it seems like that's going to be a service a lot of people are interested in.
Yeah, it's funny. We started talking about doing that in like January, and there was a pandemic. So, yeah.
Martin, you guys are installing lockers too, right?
Sorry, I was struggling to find my mute button there. Yes, we are. At Oak Park, we are installing lockers. They're actually arriving this week. And we're going to try to we're struggling really hard with not going to curbside again. We didn't want to go back to that, so we actually closed down completely. But we are trying to think of ways to get holds into our patrons' hands. We obviously have a lot of holds on shelf right now. I believe we have somewhere close to 1,200 on shelves for around about 600 unique patrons. We were considering mailing them, but we did some research on that, and that wasn't really feasible. So, long story, we're trying to think of ways to use those lockers in the short term to actually to put them in our vestibule, which, if you're familiar with Oak Park, you know that we've got like a lobby area that's separate from the main lobby, so it could be locked down. And we're trying to use those lockers to get holds out to patrons so they could just come into that area and take holds away. But long term, they're going to be used for things like technology holds, hotspots, maybe trying to do out of our holds. We've ordered some outside lockers as well, so they'll be outside on our plaza. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. Thanks for asking.
Very cool.
It looks like next on the agenda, if nobody else has anything, is marketing, promoting databases. I know we've been doing that, but really not as heavily, just because of everything else been going on. We've been kind of marketing some of the new things we have, but pretty much just trying to get the word out about our day-to-day stuff and our programming and stuff like that. So I'm not really sure how much she's doing with that. I'm not sure about anybody else.
We've gotten some new subscriptions in the last, whatever this is, 6 months. Yeah, it's just trying to get the word out about those. And then there's that Reference USA rebranding thing, and so newsletter, and then like our email newsletter, social media.
Yeah, I know it's in our program guide, which we've been publishing every other month now. But I don't think it's been a big push so far, just because of everything going on.
Yeah, there was that huge wave at the beginning, and I think we were like pelting people with all these resources, but
yeah,
they're probably like, no. Yeah, I mean, and anytime I feel like it's a big challenge to market those, even when you have regular traffic in the library. It's like you kind of try and do the word of mouth thing, but
yeah, I think it's one of those when somebody calls looking for something, and that's our way of sort of marketing it as well. Like, oh, did you know you can find it here, that information? And that seems to work for us. I'm not sure how much it's being used, but I do know that's working for us a little bit. But that's about it, I believe. Without talking to the PR manager. But I know she's just completely swamped right now, so we're just leaving her alone. And she has the ability to work remotely, so we don't see too much of her, kind of relay to her what we're looking for and what we want. And she comes in once a week, but for the most part, she's able to work from remotely easily. So she's really not there too often.
Sounds familiar. Yeah, actually, we had some technical problems with some of our databases and electronic resources in spring, and after wrestling with the companies, it's like some of those we dropped and switched to their competitors just because they were a lot of trouble to work with.
Yeah.
Trying to get access offsite and things, it's like, oh, I'm going with this, which is much cheaper and actually works.
I'm not sure if anybody else has any ideas about promoting or marketing the databases.
like target marketing? Door-to-door marketing? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing anything different than anyone else. Our usual social media and weekly email blasts, occasionally highlighting a service. The most we've done with the databases as of recent was during the pandemic. Our school support was huge and kept the youth services staff busy. And finding ways to get things whitewashed and et cetera, focusing on really particular topics and what our databases can support on those topics, specific curriculum topics. So we dug in pretty hard on the educational kids databases during the school year at the end last year when they were closed. But other than that, our databases fail. No one ever uses them. No one ever looks at them. It just has always been the case here. So I don't know. It sounds very negative, but we have a wonderful marketing coordinator, and he does a great job in sprinkling in certain aspects of particular databases and their features in their in his marketing efforts. So I wish they were used more, and especially now migrating to SWAN, we have quite a few extra additional ones, which is awesome, but this is what it is.
Yeah. We do we do a lot with our schools, and they are still they're still all remote. Every student in our district has a library card number, so they are they're promoted that way through the schools. And I know I work with the reading specialist at our middle school, and she contacts me 2-3 times a week about students who are maybe blocked or something on their card that they can't access the databases. So I know they're being used by our students. I'm just not sure about the general public.
How do it, if you don't, this is probably a little off topic, but how do you have a library card for every student? How do you guarantee every library is in the in a tax district?
So our schools are also in SWAN. Our not our high school, but our grade schools and middle schools are also affiliated with SWAN.
Okay.
So when the student signs up, if they don't already have a library card, they're given what we call a school use only card.
Yeah.
And it's a number, and basically they can use that at the schools, or if when eventually they get back to school, they can use that when they're with their classroom.
And they can remotely access your the library's databases then.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
do you have a Sora relationship?
I'm sorry, what?
Sora? Do you have that
No.
component with your schools? Okay.
No.
Sounded like you might have. Sorry. Thank you.
That's okay. No, so it's been working. Yeah, it's been working. I think it's been working well. The kids, I know the middle school is definitely using the databases for that, but I don't know if it's being used for the grammar schools. I don't think so. I have 2 nephews who are in the grammar schools, and they haven't said anything about that. And I watch them every Thursday, and I've never heard them use any of that information.
Very cool.
Yeah, we really like the service, and we allow students to sign up. I'm very, very fortunate, and the 2 grammar schools we have in town, I have 2 circ assistants who work in the evening, who also work in the library there in the grammar schools. So they're very familiar with what's going on. And when there's a new student, they are heavily promoting the parents to get a library card. Our library cards applications are in all of the new student new student registration packets. So those are given to us. We have somebody who comes twice a day from the schools and delivers books, or we return books to them and send stuff because we're their hub for Rails. So, we receive a lot of stuff. We receive a lot of applications, and then we mail those out to the students so they have library cards. So I've been there for 16 years, and this has been going on well before I started. And it works well. We have a great relationship.
Any other database, anything? Anyone want to discuss?
I'm just wondering a little bit from y'all's experience, working on the desk, referencing or doing, reference phone calls and that kind of thing. Do you find that you primarily encounter patrons that just don't know about the databases, or patrons that just don't know how to use them, or both? Like, what do you think is the bigger issue? Not maybe struggling to use them, or just finding them in the first place?
For Glenside, it's definitely not knowing about them, even though we have, everything you can think of, brochures, documents, marketing. I think actually it goes, the previous issue that leads into that issue is that nobody uses our website. We have a wonderful and beautiful website, but very little traffic. So I think from that standpoint, if you're not looking on the website and at our services, then you're not seeing that we have a load of databases that might be something you're actually interested in. Obviously, our reference librarians or anyone working on the service desks will try to utilize those if somebody needs it. But I think it's just not, not using our website, I think, is the number one issue.
I would kind of agree with Jill. For us, we do have traffic to our website, but from what I've heard, it's a lot the biggest traffic we're getting is people looking into our calendar, not necessarily looking at our website to find what we offer, what services we offer, but to go to our calendar to find out what's going on as far as programming and stuff like that. But that would be our biggest, I think, visits.
Yeah, I don't know. I mentioned this in the last meeting. You can tell people you have stuff, but until they have like a need or interest in it, it kind of.
Yeah.
We actually just
the brain shuts off what you don't need, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. We actually just recently, I'm sure typical to many other libraries, have your website as the home screen for when you log into a computer. Well, I said, you know what? What's the point? Just get rid of it. Just go straight to Google. People are so confused. They don't even know what it is when they don't know if it's the internet or, that's how, let's just make it easier for patrons and staff and just remove it altogether.
That's true.
I know. Just it's working out better. I'll tell you that. But
yeah.
That's interesting, Jill. So you just set it to Google and not even the catalog?
yeah, correct.
And do you find that people aren't typically using the computers for the catalog in your library?
No. We have OPACs, right? And the people that use the people that use our catalog know where those are. Or they see them and go to them and they know what they are. But for the most part, not never, but I've been here almost 21 years, and I don't know if I can remember anyone saying, can I use your computer to look at your website or your catalog.
Yeah.
So I would say probably very, very few.
That's a good point.
We do have we have the OPACs, but we also have like dedicated catalog OPAC sit-down stations that do regularly get used and people ask for. But I don't know if that's unusual.
Pre-pandemic, we definitely had more usage on the OPEX than we do now.
Oh yeah, this was back when people used to come to the library. I should have clarified that.
Yeah, I can't say it was used heavily, but definitely was, well, definitely more than now. But we did have people ask, mostly the same people, but that used it, that typically used it. Then we didn't have too many people who didn't normally use it, or once in a while we'd have somebody come in and ask, like, where's your card catalog, and we'd show them talkbacks, and then they would get the feel of that. But for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, even during the pandemic, we have had people come in and sit down and use the catalog station for an extended time. A lot of homeschool families, but not entirely.
Yes, a lot of homeschool families.
Which is a lot more people than it used to be.
Definitely.
I don't know. The burnout on the screen time thing, I mentioned this in a meeting yesterday, and somebody said that that's not a real thing, and that if it were, people wouldn't be on TikTok all the time. So I don't know. But in my experience, I think there is some of that.
I agree. And I think with the TikTok, when you say that, or they say that, I sort of feel like that's just mindless. It's a way to just sit there, where I think, having these conversations and these meetings, I think there is a lot of burnout. I really do. And sometimes it's difficult for me. I'm not a big TikTok person, but it's difficult for me to sit and, do my work and then sit at a meeting and listen. And I'm finding there's some burnout for me. I'm definitely, and I maybe just missing the, the human interaction too. Maybe that's part of the burnout.
I think so.
I think the burnout might come from what you're using it for as well, though, because,
Yes.
if you're working and it's professional, that's draining anyway. And then you go to a meeting and it's hard to, I don't know, it's hard to concentrate. There's some plus sides to it for me. I can see everybody's face now, which you can't really do around a meeting table. You're not always aware of everybody's facial cues, but if you're sat down looking at TikTok, I don't know, maybe it's just less stressful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depends on purpose. But then, yeah, I mean, I don't know, that yes, kids are online all day with school, but the comment was then they would not, why would they be doing this other stuff if they were burned out? And I guess my thought was, just because they're online at school doesn't mean they're not also doing TikTok at the same time. But
that's certainly what I see with my daughter. She's 14, she's in middle school. They've started to sort of, they have the screen on in front of them with the teacher teaching, but if they get sidetracked at all, or they don't like what's going on, they'll start a FaceTime conversation on their phones, and they just go to something else that might be less stressful when they're chatting to their friends. So it's kind of weird. It's like, yeah, it's starting to differentiate all these different levels of screen time and what it means, and the effect it has, which is, it's hard to differentiate.
multitasking.
True that. And she's getting A's right now. So if that slips, then I guess there's a conversation. But until that happens, I don't care what she does. She's doing really well.
Yeah, I I have three daughters, 16, 17, and 20. And it's, they're all doing really well in school. So I just don't even touch it with a 10-foot pole. Just keep doing what you're doing. My oldest daughter is out in Tulane in New Orleans. She'll come home, and when she was home over the spring, she was home, they sent everyone home, and I'm like, okay, what are you up to right now? Oh, I'm in class right now. I'm gonna run out and grab a bagel. Like, okay. So whatever they're doing, I guess they know what they can get away with.
Yeah, whatever works. Definitely. I was not great at school. I will say that. I did not get very good grades back in England, and it wasn't very good. So I don't feel like in any place to criticize my daughter if she's getting A's and using her own methods. That's cool.
Yeah, I have two. I have a 19 and a 22-year-old, and one's doing great and one just doesn't like this at all. So he's asked to take a semester off. So we're kind of contemplating what we're going to do with him. But my daughter's in nursing school, so she's doing a lot of stuff online, but then she still is going to clinicals right now and stuff. So she gets a little bit of both worlds, I think. And I think she likes that.
Okay. Anything else? Can we move along to programming and services?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. The exciting world of online programming. Who is not enjoying this? We have live programs, we have pre-recorded programs. We've been doing some of both here at my library. I'm doing a Zoom live performance next week, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, we're doing both at our library as well. And it's really hit or miss. I mean, things we think are going to be really well attended are not, and things that we have that we're a little shocked that that are really well attended. Or some of the views we have on some things, it's hit or miss, and things that we did before that we thought were going to be great, that were great in person, are flopping, and things that we're just like, well, let's see how this goes, and they're going well. So I mean, all of our adult crafts are full for November and December, so that's great. People really like the crafts. They're picking their stuff up, so we don't really have any issues with that. Yeah, so we'll see. We're doing our holiday open house on Zoom. We hired a performer to come to the library and perform from the library on Zoom. It's somebody who's that's been coming for the last several years, so we're hoping that goes well.
Yeah, I know some libraries are doing live real-time story times. We are just doing the canned pre-recorded and then broadcasting them at whatever time. Because I know everybody's on a different schedule. Maybe 10 o'clock on a Tuesday is not a good time for people to watch, so they can watch it whenever. It just gives some more flexibility.
Yeah, we have both.
And then staff-wise, it's not that people aren't available then, it's just the space and the equipment to do it and work together is not necessarily feasible.
Yeah, we do both. So we have some like live over Zoom story times weekly, and then we have some pre-recorded. We have our Polish and Spanish story times pre-recorded, and then we're doing some of the ones we did in the past live on Zoom, and then we do a Tuesday family night of bingo, crafts, and I think what else, things like that we do Tuesdays that are live on Zoom, and those are attended well. Those are very well attended. The story times in the Zoom story times, not as much, but the Tuesday family nights are still always very well attended.
Hi, this is Crystal. From a patron perspective, I've been noticing I have a 5-year-old daughter, and we are able to actually partake now in the live story times now that they're virtual and a little bit later. They have Woodbridge Library has a princess story time live on Facebook, and I don't know if it's an actor or a librarian there. I'm not sure, but they used to have this story time in person. So instead, a princess shows up and reads a bedtime story to the kids, and it's live on Facebook, so they have like a little chat area. The kids can write in, and it's super cute. And my daughter really, really loves it, and it's actually, it's actually at a good time. I think it's like a 7 o'clock, and they don't do it every week. I think it's like once a month, but it's something that we look out for. So yeah, that's a kind of a cool program. They're also doing, I think a few of you mentioned already, the crafts. The crafts seem to be kind of like a big deal. They kind of package them up. You can pick them up curbside, and those are really fun and engaging, and very thankful from a patron perspective for all the libraries trying to help all the kids and everything. Having a 5 newly minted kindergartner, it's definitely interesting times, that's for sure. So yeah, the crafts are great. The story times, at least from the patron perspectives, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, we have a beautiful garden out back, and we built a story walk there with a craft that's associated with it, and that's being changed, I think, weekly through the month of November. It's a little more difficult. I think they're going to have to change things around because it starts when you exit the building from inside the building, but you can actually get into the garden from outside without having to come into the building. So I think they're going to have to just change the layout of the story walk now that we won't be open to the public. And then there's, like I said, a craft at the end, so people could come and grab the craft by curbside if they want. If they went through the story walk, they could come and get a craft. And that seems to be very well used. People are really enjoying that outside, especially since we've had a pretty nice fall so far.
Is anyone else doing, we're doing take home holiday type things? We did a lot of Halloween stuff, and they were all filled up. So we're doing some stuff next month with the winter holidays, which I know some libraries don't do, but we've had a lot of good response on it for many years. So we've seen more interest.
We've definitely seen more interest in our craft programs than ever before, and I think maybe people just kind of need that little mental break. We've always had well-attended crafts, but I feel like not to the point where every craft we have has been completely full. And we have crafts that are full already for December that are completely full. We have wait lists, long wait lists. So I do think people just need that break, and they're looking forward to, just kind of sitting down and doing some crafts, not having to think about it. And if you don't have to run to Michael's to try and find something, and you could just run to the library and grab a bag that's already made for you, I think there's a huge call for that right now.
Yeah, I did, because we do the science and industry after school program with kids, which then became online over the summer. But that was really well received, and I mean, I had a ton of kids do it. I did video of the experiments and discussions, and then we had kits for everybody. So that was kind of cool.
It's great.
Also, the topic was spies, so it was pretty.
Does anyone else do anything interesting, fun?
I like the princess thing. That's cool.
Yeah, I think
We did a. Sorry, go ahead.
just real quick, there's some links that I believe Dawn or maybe Tara, they're throwing in the chat there. So these will also be put up after the meeting, so everyone can check them out.
Cool.
Yeah, Glenn
Yeah, we did an interesting program with a local theatre group, like a Shakespeare program. We do a Shakespeare fest every year. We couldn't do it this year, obviously. So we have the Austin Gardens Theatre Company near us, which is a really well-respected local group. But we signed an agreement with them and had a couple of their actors work up like a workshop where they would talk about a certain theme in Shakespeare, but they would act out stuff as well on Zoom. And it was really cool. We were so concerned about it because we spent quite a lot of money, and we were just keeping our fingers crossed that people would show. And we had like 80 people, so it was really well attended. But it was just like an interesting experiment for us because we had to draw up a contract, and we had to talk to this theatre company about developing a workshop and working with them to see what our patrons would even like. So for an English lit major like myself, this was fabulous. So we were trying to work up themes and stuff like that. It just felt like being back in a like a college workshop again. So, but we were just thrilled when it worked because we've had a couple of programs that haven't worked that we thought would be really interesting, like Chinese calligraphy online and stuff like that. Didn't quite work out. So yeah, it's interesting what does work and what doesn't.
We have done this in person back when people used to come into the library to go to programs. But we, in the winter, and this is for adults, although I would love to do it for kids, ukulele classes series. So I'm hoping, because we had a huge response when we did it with human beings in person. So hopefully that'll go well this winter. It's a 6-week course. Should be cool.
Sounds fun.
I should probably take it so I can learn the ukulele. Has anyone had any success with doing online trivia programs with patrons?
It's something we talk about. We haven't done. Pre-pandemic, we had a once-a-month trivia at a local restaurant that was very well attended. One of our board members was a frequent attendee, and she asks every board meeting when we're going to start up. So I know it's something they're looking into, but I don't know that they've actually kind of figured everything out yet, or how they want to do it, or if they want to do it.
I mean, we tried. We didn't have many people sign up, but I've seen other places offering. I just don't know if they've had the same experience. And then there's the different platform issues, so.
Yeah.
We do have online exercise classes.
That's nice.
Yeah.
We talked about doing that. I know somebody just asked the other day about possibly doing some Tai Chi. We didn't want to step on the park district's toes, but we found that they are doing story times and stuff. So we sort of thought, well, they're going to kind of dip into ours. We'll have to dip into theirs then. Because we do have staff members who are willing and wanting to teach it, who, you know, so I think it's something we're looking into for the new year.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot, but it's something. It's an alternative there. And years ago, we did have baby toddler yoga, which was awesome. And I'm going to try and see if I can get that going again online.
Yeah, we do have a toddler, I think, yoga. I think it's with a story time, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I believe we do have one who does that. Yeah, Kiri does it, and she really enjoys it. So.
Cooking, we've done online cooking stuff. It's food, so it's still popular. People still like to eat. And book discussions have actually shifted online pretty successfully, so.
Yeah, better than I expected. Definitely better than I expected,
definitely.
our book discussions. And we added a few, and they were pretty popular. I think we just have one that we're struggling with, but the rest are doing pretty well, which I was really happy to hear.
And what else? Oh, we did online escape rooms.
How did that go?
It was good. I mean, the most of them were for like teens and tweens. So, but I have had some patrons that either wrote in or I talked to when they came in that were just very excited. And one of them built like an escape room at their house for their own family afterwards, which I thought was very cool.
That's interesting.
It was very ambitious.
You have nothing else to do, I guess.
What else are you gonna do? But
yeah.
We do have a comment from Colleen that they have a Tech Tuesday, a spotlight, a database each week on Facebook, and they have a Jackbox games over Zoom, and cooking once a month with Chef Mike. And Colleen writes a local history post each week. They've also had International Games Week and a virtual indie author fair and a 2-day virtual fan fest. That's really cool. There is a link to the Facebook page also as well.
Great.
oh, and the Bitmoji library, I see that. Very cool. Yeah, we've been using some of those Bitmoji things to promote our new materials, especially like social media posts.
Does anybody have anything else? Sorry. I know we talked about between the three of us, the chairs, about future meetings for this group. We kind of came to a little bit of a consensus that we wanted to see this group flourish, but it just may not be the right time with this pandemic and the library being so slow. And we were looking toward maybe using the forums more and hopefully restarting when things got back to a little bit of more normalcy. I'm not sure what people's thoughts are on that.
Well, I feel funny weighing in since this is after all my first meeting, but everyone else seems to be pretty quiet. So
Go for it.
it makes sense. I mean, we're going to be repeating ourselves. I don't know how often you typically meet, once a quarter, or, you know, I'm not sure what you do, what your regular schedule is, but it makes sense to me to, I don't know, schedule the meetings farther away from each other than you typically do, given the situation. But of course, whatever the group wants.
Well, currently, the next meeting, we had moved this kind of to a just twice a year meeting, so the next meeting wouldn't be for quite some time, I believe May. However, as soon as we make plans, something else happens. So I think the chairs were just trying to take everything that's happening across libraries, and even if we start to get, or you all start to get patrons back in your library, there's going to be some bumps in the road and new things that everyone will have to get used to, I'm sure, seeing whatever this new normal holds for everyone. So I think they were just erring on the just being cautious and making sure that everyone has ample amount of time to attend to the things that you really all need to take care of on a day-to-day basis to keep your communities running. I do have a opportunity right now to share with you the forums. There is a wide range of categories here. I'm not sure if you are all signed up for forums. If you are, then you can follow different groups. We do have a book discussion group, as well as one for e-resources, an outreach group that meets a couple of times a year. And then we have this public services and circulation. And your colleagues will post things here ranging from, things about programming to library cards to, just a way to communicate, ask each other questions, gather ideas. We post agendas here and kind of try to get more interest for a meeting that's coming up, and making sure everyone has an opportunity to see the agenda. So there's quite a bit. There's a technology one as well, and interlibrary loan. So we do have quite a few different community forums here with various topics up and running. So at any time you can go ahead and add yours in, and this is a way, and this is just another way to kind of keep this group growing and taking, not breaking down the communication amongst everyone, but rather offering it in just a different format, as opposed to meeting in a couple hour meeting every few months or something like that. So yeah, if we come to a point where the chairs think we need a meeting, we can always schedule that. As always, we're here to, SWAN staff is here. We're just a ticket away, I like to say. And, if you all needed a actual meeting, we could always, set one up and get that in place for everyone to kind of have a have this, what is the new in-person meeting, these new virtual meetings here. So
We could meet in Second Life.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We could meet in Second Life.
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't mean to speak for you, Jean or Sue, just kind of wanted to, gather our thoughts and let everybody know what the forums look like in case anyone's new or, it's the first time they're hearing about them. So I think you guys have a lot going on and and you're doing great. It's also great to, share what works, what doesn't, help each other out.
It's nice to hear just what other people are doing. I mean, I know we're all on listservs, but it's nice to actually talk to people outside of our own libraries.
Yeah. If you are new and you have not signed up for this, it's not going to be your L2 login or any other login like that. You'll have to request a login for your forum. So please send in a ticket to help@swanlibraries.net and someone will contact you and get you set up with an account. And then you can post away and read away at what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, I kind of think that's a good plan for now. I think it's a great group. I just think, like you said, Crystal, we just have a lot on our plates, everyone.
Yeah, and that's understandable. I mean, if we see the need for it, later next year, something like that, you guys just let me know and we'll make it happen.
Great.
Good.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna be quiet now unless you guys want to hear, more about my fascinating life with my 5-year-old and giant dogs.
Dogs.
Oh yeah, there's too many in this house, but yeah, that's all I have. I appreciate all the work you guys did to make this agenda and this meeting happen. It was really great to hear from everybody, and I know things are crazy right now. Everybody's deciding what they're going to do, close, stay open, curbside, all of that. So just making it to the meeting was a feat in itself, I'm sure. So thank you for building all of this and sharing all of your knowledge and your services that you're providing with us all today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else on staff need to say anything or want to say anything?
No, just thanks for coming, everyone.